and welcome to another episode of Rock Your Stories talk show, the Christmas special Secrets Revealed. And together with me today, we find Tulia Lopes. Hey, Tulia.
Hello, Asha. Hello, here from the sunny Germany.
Lucky you, here it's gray and damp and very Swedish winter weather. And we have met up to talk about the secrets for how to turn your intentions into great impact on your clients, your audience, your upcoming business partners. And Tulia, I'm so happy to have you here because you are exactly the right person to talk about these things. For you who don't know Tulia, she is a experienced entrepreneur, a fabulous woman coming from Brazil, but has lived in Europe for 30 years or something, so who cares? She is a European leader and influencer, and she teaches women how to communicate and lead. After 8 years of developing these skills and their communication platform, you really know how to teach others effective communication and leadership skills, right?
That's what I'm doing.
Yes, and you have also, developed this platform, the All Summit, which brings women together from all over Europe, and your mission is to give voice to women and give them the power to lead by their presentation skills and their voice and their story. And you also have written a book called Leading in High Heels. And I know that there is something very valuable for you to get hold of in the end of this talk show. It's a Christmas gift. It's a late Christmas gift, but who cares? This is just the giving season, and we are here to explore this splendid topic that we have for you today. So Tulia, this thing about understanding your audience, the intentions, the impact, why is this so important for you and for everyone else?
I love that you ask this question because, as entrepreneurs, business owners, everyone in general should be aware of the importance of having good presentation skills. And nowadays, we know that having the opportunity to talk for an audience, in front of an audience, is a huge opportunity to promote yourself, to give visibility, and to have a voice out there that can influence others. However, still many people don't take that serious enough, as we know, and they miss those opportunities. So this is why I say I'm in a mission, and I'm in a mission to support women above all. I used to work with men in the past, but now I'm more and more focused on women in helping them to find, to own, and to unleash their voice, to make sure that their intention creates the impact they want to create. Because also you will see more than often in businesses, we have all sorts of presentations. And sometimes people have a very good content, a very good product, a very good business. And when they come to present their business, even if it's in a one-on-one conversation, because I want to make a note here, when I say audience, just be clear that I'm not talking only about 100,000 people. One person is your audience. And it's very important that you know how to communicate with this person. And more than often, what people don't understand, that at the end of the day, your message, the message you're going to give, is all about your audience. What does that mean? Mean that you have to craft your message in a language, literally in a language that your audience can understand. And in most cases, people, when they present something and they perceive, their feedback is that the presentation was not good, was not understood. They were not able to influence, for example, an investor. They were not influence someone to collaborate or to partner with them. They sometimes get upset and say, oh, that person did not understand me. Or, of course, but the problem is not that person. If you're the one that wants to send a message across, It's your job to make sure to craft your message, to build the bridge between you and your audience. That's what I say, like you have to build a bridge between your intention and the impact you create. Many people have a lot of intentions, but the impact in many cases is not what they expect.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. And you know, I was just talking to someone the other day, and I thought this was typical Swedish. But now I had interviews, and I've talked to people, and I meet them all over Europe, and they say the same. They say the same thing, because the opportunities are out there, and you know what the thing is with Swedish and the European people, they don't realize that when we are talking about speaking in public and the speaking opportunities, it's whenever you speak in public. It's not about speaking on the stage. It's about understanding that your business stage is anywhere and everywhere. You meet your people. Those, you know, you open your mouth and you communicate, and at that point you are a public speaker. And it's time for you to make an impression and make your intentions heard. Like in a mingle at the conference when you meet people, that's one opportunity.
Yeah.
Or at the local grocery shop if you meet someone there, right? They might be the one, your ambassador, who brings your message forth. So it's always about opportunities, and it's not only about being on stage. Your stage is everywhere.
Yeah, I think for me in the work I do with women, I focus on communication and as a foundation for everything.
Yes.
So what I mean is that many people nowadays are focused on the stage. They want to become good presenters and good speakers.
Yes.
And to me, the work starts way before. You have to create that foundation and to build exactly what you're saying, that you build a solid foundation as a communicator, as someone who communicates assertively on your beliefs, on the impact you want to create, because in every communication you are bringing yourself. When we are entrepreneurs, above all, we are our own brand. So we have to be prepared to be expressing what we believe, what we are serving, what we are bringing to the audience, to the public, to your customers. We have to be able to communicate that in a very clear manner. And in many cases, many entrepreneurs, they're not so clear about it. And it's a process of understanding and building up this confidence, because the clearer you are, more potential you have to attract more clients, to become more known, build yourself more credibility, authority, visibility, and therefore bring more money.
Yes.
Because when you become an expert, is by really having the ability to influence others on what you do. And you can only do that if you have a very assertive way of communicating.
Yeah, and you know, this is one of the big challenges for so many entrepreneurs, as I meet as well, just for you, like for you. I have this workshop / keynote, create your 7-second pitch. And in the beginning, I always ask the audience, who are entrepreneurs, most of them, or highly trained professionals. But even so, if it's only entrepreneurs in the room, and I ask, are you an expert? And, you know, 1 or 2 out of 10 raise their hand. They lack of language, they lack of confidence, and they have hard times seeing themselves or experience, you know, that they are experts. So I tell them that, you know, you are an expert because you have services, you have competence, you know what you're doing, right? And you could answer the questions with saying, I can find out. And if you can find out an answer, you're an expert, okay? And then, so they say, okay, I'm an expert. And then I ask them, are you a professional? And again, no one raised their hands. And I have to ask them, do you love what you do? Do you thrive in what you do? Is it what you're passionate about? Yeah, they say. Do you get paid? Yes. then you're a professional. Well, you know, the only difference between a professional and an amateur is that an amateur loves what they do and a professional get paid for it as well. So, but this is, as I said, the problem. Because if you don't truly believe that you have something important, that you are an expert in something, that you can help others, you can't even present yourself on the local grocery store with impact. So it starts there. You need to believe it. You need to realize that you are important. You are having.
Yeah, I do. I'm fully a true believer that once you understand the way you communicate and build up on your strengths and really creates an assertive way of communication. Sometimes assertive sounds a little bit harsh. I think there's a misconcept on being assertive. Some people believe when you're assertive mean that you're inquisitive or that you're the ones very sharp. I don't see on that way. I see being assertive is having clarity on your way of expressing yourself. And of course, we all have our moments that we get confused. That's normal. However, building up confidence, you have to build through communication, because once you express yourself in a manner that others understand you, then you start building something. You start building a dialogue. You start building a communication, a flow of information back and forth. And the keys and the tools and to really work on your communication skills are many. But one very important one, which is the one that we most lack, is the ability of listening actively. I say to my students, like, we all go to communication, public speaking classes, but we never go to listening classes. And because of education as well, even more women, where we are educated, I don't know if it's in your culture is the same, but in my culture, you're educated to always be nice, be good, and answer all the questions. So we are very prompt to answer questions, but we are not really prepared to listen, because when someone is talking to us, we are already thinking what we are going to answer. So therefore, we are not preparing ourselves into the conversation. We are bringing just our own agenda, not really listening what other person is saying. So for business, this is crucial, because we really need to learn how to listen our customers, their needs. And this is what, when I say people come with their own agenda, with their great idea, but they disconsider sometimes what is exactly the need of their customer. And if you cannot communicate your idea in a language that your customer can understand, your idea gets nowhere. And there's a saying from Lee Iacocca, who was an American businessman, who says exactly that. You can have brilliant ideas, but if you can't get your message across, your ideas will take you nowhere. And we can say this very much today in those startup events where people are pitching and you are sitting there watching them and you are wondering what the heck they're talking about. You have no idea, because you cannot really understand their business. And guess what? It's about making it as simple as possible. And simplicity is one of the most difficult things to achieve. And you only can achieve simplicity when you have a very rich vocabulary and a very rich communication skill.
Yes. And as we said, that's built on clarity in what you want to communicate, and insight and understanding in the people you want to talk to.
Exactly.
Any public speaker, and that's what I'm saying, it's public speaking at its finest. So it doesn't matter if you are planning to hold a speech on stage, like for 20 minutes, or a short 30-second presentation, or 7, outside on the street. It's the same thing. Be clear on who you are and what you need to present, and package it in order to who you are talking to, right?
Exactly. As you say, clear what you are, making sure what is your intention. What do you want to get from this talk, from this presentation, from this conversation? And then who is my audience? How do I have to build my communication for my audience, that person, to understand what I want to say?
Yeah.
So, and that's the point.
Yeah,
That's the bottom line of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really love when you say it's a question of simplicity built on rich vocabulary. Because sometimes, all the time they ask me, how is it possible to build a 7-second story? Well, it is possible because you need to look into the different abilities of how can I choose words, the vocabulary. And you need to choose words that triggers the stories inside your audience head. And in that way, you can tell a story in just 3 words, perhaps.
Yeah.
That's what the story
amazing.
happens in your audience mind. That's where it happens.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yes, and I believe there's a lot of work to do in that field, because we are communicating all the time. As I say, I have a talk where I say everybody talks, some communicate, and very few connect.
Yeah.
And that's the reality, and we have to be aware of that. And the ones who are communicating are the ones who are really leading have the potential to become change makers, are the ones who really can know how to express themselves and their feelings and what they want to say.
Yes. So if you want to be a change maker and really connect and drive your audience or your target groups or your people, as I said, your people close to you, you need to learn the communication skills.
Yes, you do, definitely. And even more in this multicultural environment that we live nowadays, it's so important to be able to understand all the nuances that comes with the cultural background that every person has. It's tricky, it's challenging. It's very difficult to master everything. You can not understand everybody's background and know about everybody's background at once, but you can start in your process of learning, and you become more observant and learning by also nonverbal communication, body languages and gestures, vocal variety. All these elements give you a lot of information about the person that you're communicating to, that you can relate to experience you have on the same level and the same line, that might give you the key and the path to build up a communication with that person. But I find honestly also that it's very risky nowadays, that people assume they can just go on stage without preparing themselves, of knowing who is the audience there listening to them, or go to a meeting without knowing who's going to be there, what is the outcome they want from that meeting, because then they have to be prepared to ask the right questions that will lead to the outcome they want. So it's time for people to understand that they cannot take this for granted anymore. And there are many people in leading positions that they are horrible communicators. They are just there on those leading positions. They are not achieving results, and they are wondering why. And for me, it's clear that the reasons of all this mess that we have out there in the world right now is misleading communication, bad communication, and all about the inability, incapability of people to really being able to express themselves in a manner that they understand, respect, and find agreements between themselves.
Yeah. I often talk about storytelling and story selling as, it's story branding. As you say, there is a huge risk and an opportunity, because thanks to the digital development, everything is going so quick. It's very quick. And one thing is that people have the tools that, they have the tool in their hand. I'm showing you this, to choose you or disconnect you in just a few seconds. That's why you need to be so quick. And you really need to communicate so they choose to to click you in to their, like you and follow you and bring you into their world, because they build these communication bubbles. And that's a huge opportunity, of course, if you can use your communication skills to make people choose you and like you.
Exactly.
And it's also a risk if you do something or say something that makes you puts you outside of their bubble. And this is also what creates these tensions, because it's so easy these days to very quickly create separate bubbles of people who are not communicating at all, and just, then the conflict starts happening.
Yeah, they're just making noise. They are not really connecting.
No, not at all, not at all. Of course, this way of behaving that's a typical human thing. We have always been doing this. We stick to our people, our group, our society, and we share things, and we love to, we stick with the people we love. We listen to the people we love. That's what we have always done that. But these days it's so much bigger and quicker, and the impact is huge if you are one of those who are allowed to actually be influencers or make an impact.
It's true, and this is why the challenge is even bigger, because we are in the environments that are multicultural, and we have to learn to observe. So it's very important to really learn how to listen actively and empathetically, and be an observant, understand body language, start reading people's gestures, and that getting all this as information for you to be able to build this bridge from you to that person, if you really want to connect with that person, if that person is your potential client, if that person is someone that you want to influence, if that person is someone that you want to bring to become a partner with you or to collaborate with you. And I just want to point out one thing that you probably experienced that yourself as well, as being a speaker yourself, that what we do when we want to go on stage, speak to someone on stage, first of all, we do our homework. First, why do I want to speak on that stage? Is because there might be a reason for me that stage, meaning that audience, that community there, is important for me somehow. It's not all the audiences that will be relevant for me for what I do. Although I'm always talking to women, helping women, but still there are certain audiences that are more interesting for me. So then I identify the event, for example.
Yes.
Then I identify the organizers. Then I present myself. Of course, you present yourself, but you also, one thing, because I'm a promoter, I create events. And one thing I observe is that falls back into what we said before. The people are thinking on their own self. They are so much on their own agenda. Who I am, how good I am, and look how great I am. And with this mentality, they go on stage. And they forget that they are not good, they are not great if they don't have an audience that pay attention to them. So the same when it comes to the promoter. Few people, only experienced speakers, presenters, ask the promoter, how can I help your event to be even better, for example? How my skills can contribute even better on your event? Do you know, it's about like, okay, I know what I can offer, but what is the plan you have? How can I support you even more? This kind of questions are so important, because in that case, I am the first audience. And this is a tip I'm giving to your audience there who wants to speak on stage, who wants to present. Ask questions to your promoter. What type of event is this? If someone approaches you, let's say you're not even the one looking, someone approaches you, ask what type of event is, what type of audience is, age group, preferences, hobbies, colors, everything. You have to gather all the information, and then you ask your promoter, what are your plans? What your outcome of the event? What you want to achieve with that event? How my skills can bring your event make your event even better. So then everybody will benefit. But if I go there with my agenda that I'm great, and I say this as a call for the speakers I see also
Mhm.
in our areas, that some speakers, they come to the event, they deliver their speech, they disappear. They don't mingle at the beginning, they don't mingle after. They just come, deliver, and disappear. Okay, I understand sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't have the time. But I think as a inform your promoter and let them tell the audience as well, listen, Osa is coming today, giving us this lovely speech, but unfortunately you won't be able to stay longer with us, but she is here. And then, because I also find that it's a little bit, it doesn't give a good impression if you just come to deliver your speech just 10-15 minutes before your time, deliver your speech, and then you disappear. So here is my very personal opinion as a professional to my colleagues out there that have been doing this. Maybe you can change your mind from now on.
Yeah, and this is so interesting. So many things going on here in what you say, because I believe for first, if you are at a conference and doing a workshop or wherever you are doing a public speech, the most interesting things around that speech happens before and after the actual speech, right? And you need to know about that, and you need to take care about that. And I often talk to my clients about how to, pick up those kind of things, because if you don't take care of all your opportunities, why at all do it? Because, it's a huge effort for you and for everyone else. But the other interesting thing is that it happens to me a lot, especially in Sweden, again, that I call people who are arranging something big, and I start with asking, so who are the the ideal visitor of this event? Who is your audience? And they don't even understand the question. And
No, so they don't have their target
and they
audience
don't have
defined.
the answer. And I said, this last spring, I called the city of Borås. They were arranging a 1-week event, and I asked them, what is the demographic of your audience for this event? And they didn't know the answer. And I said, but how could I create something spectacular for this week event if I don't know who are coming?
Exactly. Are they children? Are they adults? Are they mothers? Who are they?
Yeah, are they old? Are they young? Are they men? Are they women? What are they into? They didn't know.
Yeah.
They had no numbers.
I was giving a presentation recently, and this topic came at the table, and the question was, one lady asked, but what happens? The situation was in a meeting presentation, because I said you need to know who is going to be on the meeting, who preferences, or profile, etc. And she said, but what happens when we don't know the client? I said, is there a possibility nowadays that you don't know people? You cannot know people personally, but you Google the name of the person, you get some information. And even if the person is an incognito, those ones with the question mark, you can find information about the company, you can find about the company achievements, you find some information. So our job as speakers, as presenters, as professionals, entrepreneurs, and when you're talking to people, we have to do our homework to check who is our audience. So this is why, like networking events, and as I talk to my ladies, I say, ladies, we have to come to network events prepared. You have to know what is the outcome I want to take from that network event. First of all, was that network event, can that network event be beneficial for me? For the type of networking event, because some networking events might not be beneficial for you. So then if the answer is yes, okay, who is going to be there? Who is going to be there that it's important for me to know? Or who can help me to know someone that I want to know? All these kind of questions we have to have. And then we go prepared, even if our intention is to go for the social part. You might say, do you know what? I just go to have fun. I just go for the drinks and for the snacks. That's fine too. But you have to know. But going just for going, to be seen and not being able to connect, to network, and also exchanging information without following up, You see, this all falls into your communication skills package.
Yeah.
Because as a professional, you have to be thinking about all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I of course you can go just for fun, but mostly I often say to people, this RW, which you spell out after work. For me, it does not spell out like that. It's always at work. AW.
Okay.
At work. And if I can't make a social occasion, which is, AW, thinking and behaving like it is at work, I stay at home. If I don't have the energy to do it properly, I stay at home, because it's wasted resources for me. My time is, special. My time is sacred. I have so much things I need to do. So I can't afford just going there for fun. If it's not really, really fun, you know what I mean?
Yes. But sometimes you can afford to go for fun, just go for fun, but go consciously for fun.
Yeah.
But even going for fun, you need to be prepared to answer questions and to pitch yourself in the sense like, I know speeching sounds a little bit artificial, and that's the point. It should not be artificial.
No.
You should be so much connected and aligned with your business, with what you want to show to people, what you want to give and tell people, that should be natural to you when you're talking to people. So when you it means that you don't have done your homework yet.
Nope. And you need to realize that whenever you are in a official, open public space, you are doing public speaking and you are at work, because people see you, they get reflections from you, they get impressions from you, and that's building on your story, whether you want it or not. You are at work. So I'd like to, do a kind of summary here, Tulia, and I have a lot of points actually. So if you feel something, you just fill in. But the first thing we said about this subject today, what we will be talking about, is that to talk and have a voice is such a great opportunity today. And it's, you really need to have that. So you need to realize that this voice is worth working on and learn how to use it. And then in every communication you do with people, even if you're not talking, you are bringing yourself to others and your message. And then we said that confidence in communication is built in clarity on your own personal strengths.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's beautifully said. Beautifully said.
Yes. And in order to do this intentional communication with impact, you need to learn how to listen. Listen to your audience and present your idea in a way that the customer or your target audience understand, that your people understand. And simplicity is built, among others, on a rich vocabulary and, clarity. So that's what you need to create from 7 seconds and onwards, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And to sum it all up, change makers like you out there are in huge need of communication skills, because that's the only way you will reach the people you need to help. And they're waiting.
Exactly. Yes. Give me 5.
Yeah, give me 5. And Tulia, you have a present, a gift. It's a Christmas gift.
Exactly. Look what I have here. Santa arrived here, and I'm giving a copy of my book to everyone who writes me an email before the 1st of January. The only thing you're going to have to pay is the postage. So once you contact me, I will send you the information, and we get an agreement with that. And would it be like the first 50 who contact me, or 1st of January, the one which expires first? Yes. So don't miss this opportunity and start the 2018 leading in your high heels.
Yes. So the 51st who writes, or before, it ends 1st of January. I want one. There's 49 left.
That's good. You have yours. It's here.
Yeah,
I will send it to you now.
And I also know that you can find more information about Tulia on various places on the web. So I'll add some links for that. You can find her. And if you want to know more about me or watch more talk shows, you have it all on Rock Your Stories Facebook page, and somewhere all over the place at that Facebook page. You also will find a link if you want my guide, 5 steps to gain clients on LinkedIn. Something like that. But it's not about that. It's about giving. It's about loving and sharing. And I love to have you here, Tulia. And I look forward to see you soon again, and maybe in Zurich for your All Summit thing.
For sure. Thank you very much. It was my pleasure to share this time with you and your audience. And for sure, next year, Zurich, the All Summit will be there. And you are one of my speakers already. And in Munich as well. So more to come.
Yeah,
and a happy Christmas to all of you there.
Happy Christmas.
And a profitable and clear and a 2018 full of clarity where your intention create the impact you want to create.
Happy New Year. Mwah. Love you all.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Tulia.